Good evening and welcome to this evening's City Council meeting on January 30th, 2024. The time is 7 p.m. and this meeting is hereby called to order. Please join in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please call the roll?
McHale.
Here.
Bud Matts is absent. O'Brien is absent. Veneziano.
Here.
Boucher.
Here.
Reyes.
Here.
Kohler.
Here.
With 5 present and 2 absent, there is a quorum. The first order of business is to approve minutes from 3 previous meetings, and the first set of minutes before us is the December 12th, 2023 Committee of the Whole meeting. Is there a motion to approve these minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Alderman Boucher for the first and Alderman Kohler for the second. Are there any corrections, additions, or deletions regarding the minutes? Seeing none, the question is, shall the minutes be approved? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, and those minutes are approved. Our second set of minutes to approve this evening are from the December 19th, 2023 City Council meeting. Is there a motion to approve these minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Alderman Boucher for the first, and Alderman Kohler for the second. Any corrections, additions, or deletions to those minutes? Seeing none, the question is, shall the minutes be approved? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, and those meeting minutes are approved. And lastly, we have our January 9th, 2024 City Council meeting minutes before us. Is there a motion to approve these minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Alderman Boucher for the first, and Alderman Kohler for the second. Are there any corrections, additions, or deletions to this last set of minutes? Seeing none, the question is, shall the minutes be approved? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, and those meeting minutes are approved. There is no mayor's report this evening. Are there any ward reports? All right. Seeing none, at this time, normally we would open up the floor for public comment. However, there are no signatures on the sign-in sheet this evening to speak. Therefore, we will move forward to our pending ordinances. The first pending ordinance before us is item A, ordinance number 24-01, to approve an ordinance excluding the City of Rolling Meadows from coverage under the Cook County Paid Leave Ordinance and declaring that Rolling Meadows ordinance number 23-55 shall prevail with respect to paid leave applicable to city employees in for second reading. Is there a motion to adopt this ordinance?
So moved.
Thank you, Alderman McHale for the first.
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Reyes for the second. Is there any discussion regarding the approval to adopt this ordinance? Seeing none, the question is, shall the ordinance be adopted? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Kohler.
Yes.
McHale.
Yes.
Veneziano.
Yes.
Boucher.
Yes.
Reyes.
Yes.
With 5 in favor and none opposed, this ordinance is adopted. The next items before us are for our consent agenda and for first reading, and it consists of 2 items, B and C. Does any alderperson wish to remove any item from the consent agenda for ordinances? All right. Seeing none, the chair declares it in order for one motion to consider the 2 ordinances in one motion without debate. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Alderman Veneziano for the first.
Second.
And thank you, Alderman McHale for the second. The first of the 2 ordinances that we have before us is item B, ordinance number 24-00, to amend the city code in order to reduce the number of video gaming accessory GA licenses issued in the city of Rolling Meadows, GSC Incorporated, doing business as Stadium Sports Bar and Grill at 4015 Algonquin Road, and Anna's Red Apple, 2121 Plum Grove Road, in for first reading. And then the second item is item C, ordinance number 24-00, to amend the city code in order to reduce the number of Class A1 and Class A2 liquor licenses issued in the city of Rolling Meadows, GSC Incorporated, doing business as Stadium Sports Bar and Grill A1 at 4015 Algonquin Road, and Anna's Red Apple A2 at 2121 Plum Grove Road, in for first reading. The question is, shall the ordinances be moved forward for second reading? Will the clerk please call the roll?
McHale.
Yes.
Veneziano.
Yes.
Boucher.
Yes.
Reyes.
Yes.
Kohler.
Yes.
With 5 in favor and none opposed, the ordinances will be moved forward for second reading. At this time, we'll move on to new business. And for item D, we need a motion to approve payment of bills on warrant for January 30th, 2024. Is there such a motion? Thank you, Alderman Kohler for the first.
Second.
And thank you, Alderman McHale for the second. Is there any discussion regarding approval of payment of bills on warrant? All right, seeing none, the question is, shall the warrant be approved? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Veneziano.
Yes.
Boucher.
Yes.
Reyes.
Yes.
Kohler.
Yes.
McHale.
Yes.
With 5 in favor and none opposed, the warrant is approved. This brings us to our consent resolutions, which consist of 6 items, items E through J. Does any alderperson wish to remove any item from the consent agenda for resolutions? Yes, Alderman Kohler.
I'd like to pull letter F and letter I.
Any others? Okay. Seeing none, the chair declares in order for one motion to consider the 4 resolutions in one motion without debate. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Alderman Veneziano for the first and Alderman Kohler for the second. The 4 items before us for the consent resolution is item E, resolution number 24-R-04, to approve payment of funds to the state of Illinois for ground emergency medical transport, GEMT. Item G, resolution number 24-R-06, to authorize a performance bonus for city manager Rob Sabo. Item H, to resolution number 24-R-07, to authorize the purchase of water meters and water meter parts for replacements, repairs, and new construction for fiscal year 2024 from Core and Main in a not-to-exceed amount of $60,000 and no cents. And item J, resolution number 24-R-09, to authorize the fiscal year 2024 locating services contract with U.S. Infrastructure Corporation, USIC, in a not-to-exceed amount of $65,000 and no cents. The question is, shall the resolutions be adopted? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Veneziano.
Yes.
Boucher.
Yes.
Reyes.
Yes.
Kohler.
Yes.
McHale.
Yes.
With 5 in favor and unopposed, the resolutions are adopted. This brings us back to our remaining resolutions. The first before us is item F, resolution number 24-R-05, to award a contract for the purchase of an aerial ladder truck from Pierce Manufacturing. Looking for a motion to consider this resolution.
So moved.
Thank you, Alderman Veneziano for the first,
Second.
and thank you, Alderman Boucher for the second. Alderman Kohler, you had pulled this, so you have first comment.
Yeah, so the reason I pulled this, and I will apologize to the departments affected by this, because I hadn't had the discussions. I did talk to the fire chief before this meeting about this item. My question for the record is this ladder truck is a replacement for a pump truck. The ladder trucks, I understand, are much more expensive, more expensive than a pump truck. And so I'd like to hear from the fire chief if he's willing to speak to why we are doing that purchase and what advantages we get from that. And then the second question I have on that, fire chief, is would that put a ladder truck in each of our stations, or how's it being distributed? Thank you.
So in the past, we would purchase a pumper truck and then a ladder truck. It's been that way for many years. In 2006, which this one is replacing, they decided to go with another pumper truck at the time due to the deal that they got on it. It kind of threw the arrangement out of normal succession. So this vehicle gets us back to that normal line of pumper, then aerial for the city. And then secondly, no, it will not put one at each station. This will put one front line and one in reserve status for when it needs replacement or repair.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments, Alderman Kohler?
No.
Is there any
Sounds
other
good.
discussion, questions, or comments from the council regarding item F? Okay, seeing none, the question is, shall item F be approved? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Veneziano.
Yes.
Boucher.
Yes.
Reyes.
Yes.
Kohler.
Yes.
McHale.
Yes.
With 5 in favor and none opposed, this resolution is adopted. This brings us to item I, resolution number 24-R-08, to authorize the purchase of a 2024 Volvo EWR 130E GPE wheeled excavator from Alta Equipment in a not-to-exceed amount of $250,000 and no cents. Is there a motion to consider this resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Alderman Veneziano for the first,
Second.
and thank you, Alderman McHale for the second. Alderman Kohler, you had pulled this, so you get first comment.
Yeah, so I probably will direct this at Public Works. My questions on this. So I, being on the capital improvements, planning committee, I'm looking at what we're trying to replace here. So, and I just want a point of clarification. According to this, the thing says we're replacing a 2023 wheel excavator. That's not correct. Is that correct?
No, that is not correct.
Okay. So we will correct that at the meeting of the capital projects team. The second thing is when we look at the description that was in the capital improvement document that was prepared last year and approved by the council, and this is just for clarification, we'll get these clarified in the next capital projects meeting, but it says that this vehicle was planned to replace 3 vehicles. A current streets combination backhoe, which according to the plan was going to go into streets division. Is that still the plan?
So this wheel. Okay, perfect. So this wheeled excavator is actually going to replace. It is going to replace the streets combination backhoe and loader. Then the utilities current combination vehicle is actually going to go to streets, and then this is going to actually go and fit in for the utilities division. So that's how we cycle our combination vehicles for streets and utilities. Streets gets the older one, and then utilities gets the newer one because they utilize the machine much
I'm
more.
sure streets likes that, right? Just kidding. Mini excavator, current mini excavator is being replaced. Is that correct?
That is correct. So the mini excavator will be replaced, I believe. Yeah. So
And then it also had in the plan a current tractor with wing mowing attachment. Is that being replaced also, or is that still in the inventory?
that is going to stay in the inventory for approximately 1 more year. The idea is to get a flail mower attachment for the wheeled excavator. We did not have the budget money to actually do that this year, so that's going to be pushed for another year, and then we'll plan to bring that forward in the vehicle replacement and capital improvement committee. But right now that is being delayed for 1 year because we did not budget enough money to purchase the attachment flail mower.
Okay. My last question for you is when we consider replacement of vehicles, and this goes to our city manager and police chief and fire chief also, do we ever consider electric vehicles?
We do it. Yeah, so we do consider electric vehicles. We have purchased an electric vehicle already. It is in a frontline divisional for the inspectors, so that is currently up and running. The major thing and component right now that we're looking at evaluating with electric vehicles and other alternative fuel vehicles is the infrastructure that the city currently has in place. In order to bring more of those vehicles on board, we need to increase the infrastructure that we have in order to actively power those vehicles. So right now we're actually researching and diving pretty deeply into the infrastructure needed for electric vehicles, and then also where we want to put those vehicles, whether they be frontline, more administrative. So currently we're evaluating that, and we are renewing our vehicle replacement policy, which will also incorporate an alternative fuel vehicle portion into that policy as well.
Okay.
If I may add really quickly, one of the things that we're evaluating with our fleet division is the battery capacity on larger truck type vehicles, and the technology that exists. As it gets better and it's becoming rolled out to the market, we don't necessarily want to be the test subject for that type of technology. We're taking a cautious approach because of the significant investment once you purchase one of these types of equipment. With respect to our administrative/inspector fleet vehicles, those certainly are what I will call low-hanging fruit as far as what we are going after with respect to transitioning away from internal combustion engines and looking at either alternative fuel or fully electric vehicles. But as the technology does improve for the different types of trucks and advanced equipment that we use in Public Works, as well as in the other departments, we're starting to look at those. I believe that an electric fire truck has just been debuted, and there may be a department in the U.S. that is testing one of those. Until we know that those are foolproof and that the battery equipment within them will support not only driving that vehicle, but also all of the infrastructure built into that vehicle itself, we want to take the time to make sure that equipment is made in such a way that we don't have to worry about failure while out in the field using it.
Okay. The reason I'm concerned about this, and for my fellow council members here, is that I think back in December we approved a fuel purchase agreement where we're purchasing about $300,000 worth of fuel a year, 115,000 gallons of fuel a year. And so that comes into the calculation here. You know, in a lifetime, 5-year lifetime of our purchase of vehicles, that's, millions of dollars of fuel that we're purchasing. that we could put electric and not have to pay for that. So I'm just point of question that we are considering that, and we'll continue to consider that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Kohler, for your comments and questions, and thank you, staff, as well, for contributing to this line item. Do you have any other comments or questions?
No further questions, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, and yes, go ahead, Alderman McHale.
I'm on the Vehicle Replacement Committee, so I just want to let
Thank
you
you.
know that we do talk extensively about electric vehicles and all of the concerns that you bring up, and it's a major point of conversation pretty much every single time we meet, so I'd be happy to share my notes with you.
Oh, I appreciate that. I know Nick is, Alderman Bud Matz is on that team, and I was hoping he would be here to ask the question, but now that I know you're on that committee, thank you. Thank you.
That's it.
Any other comments or questions regarding line item I? Okay, seeing none, the question is, shall this resolution be adopted? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Boucher,
Yes.
Reyes,
Yes.
Kohler,
Yes.
McHale,
Yes.
Veneziano.
Yes.
With 5 in favor and none opposed, this resolution is adopted. This now brings us to other business and reports. There are no mayoral appointments or proclamations or your city clerk report. Therefore, we will move on to our community items of interest, and for that, I will defer to City Manager Rob Sabo.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. The February newsletter can be found on the city website. Please visit cityrm.org and click on the News and Views tab. The city's 2024 calendar of community events is now available on the city's website, Facebook page, and at City Hall. Be sure to reserve these dates to enjoy concerts, parades, festivals, and other special events in Rolling Meadows throughout the year. This Thursday, February 1st, is the last day of collection for the city's annual Holiday Light Recycling Program. Holiday lights, extension cords, and power strips can be dropped off into the collection boxes outside of City Hall. For details about this program, please visit Elgin Recycling, that's ELGIN, recycling.com. That's all for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will also then present this evening the draft City Council agenda for February 13th, 2024. And to that, again, we'll defer to City Manager Rob Sabo.
Thank you. The draft agenda is included in tonight's agenda packet. Just 3 resolutions of note on there that are pending include purchase and installation of carpeting for city facilities for replacements, a intergovernmental agreement with the Park District for maintenance of a bioswale storm sewer system, which is part of our Park Street storm sewer improvements. And then lastly, an approval of a lease agreement with Sprint and T-Mobile for cellular antenna equipment. That isn't a new lease, but that is in light of the merger between Sprint and T-Mobile to update that lease document. That's all for this evening, and that agenda will be posted in accordance with the Open Meetings Act in advance of that meeting date. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, we have reached our matters not on the agenda component of this evening's meeting. Are there any matters not on the agenda that the council would like to discuss? Yes, Alderman Veneziano.
Thank you, Mayor. So I know many of us council members and residents had concerns with a local establishment here in our community, the Marathon on Kirchhoff and Hicks. And I will let Manager Sabo address that. But in accordance with all Ward 4, I do want to let residents know that the Marathon on Kirchhoff, across from Jewel, we'll reference that those are 2 separate identity owners. And so I do not want any prejudice to that business owner. I know that those questions have been raised. The owner has raised some issues as well with that. And as far as any concerns within the community, I'm going to let Manager Sabo address those.
Thank you, Alderman Veneziano. The regulation of fuel and fueling stations, by and large, is handled by the the State of Illinois Department of Agriculture, specifically the Bureau of Weights and Measures. And anyone who has a complaint pertaining to pricing or the fuel systems themselves as it pertains to how much fuel is dispensed versus what is shown or pricing, all of those are investigated. Typically, a complaint of that nature is investigated by that Bureau of Weights and Measures. The city has notified the Bureau of the complaints that we were made aware of related to that fueling station. However, we would encourage anyone in our community or any member of the public that has a complaint related to any fueling station to reach out to the Bureau of Weights and Measures. They required those complaints to be made by email. And the email address, I'll read it out for everybody here, is agr.wmcomplaints@illinois.gov. One more time, that's agr.wmcomplaints@illinois.gov. The one thing that I'd like to note, since it was brought to our attention regarding complaints about the price of fuel sold. There isn't a regulation that stipulates how much a business can sell its product for. That simply is a matter of consumer discretion as to whether or not you choose to purchase a product at the price that it's sold at. In rare circumstances, such as a state of emergency, kind of like we went through with the pandemic, there are circumstances where the law would prohibit price gouging when there is a scarce supply of a product, kind of like when there was runs on toilet paper or hand sanitizer, things of that nature. So that said, the topic or complaint that we've received about, well, how can this gas station charge $9.99 or $10.99, what have you, is not something that we would be able to locally enforce. And again, the price that a business wants to set for a product outside of an emergency situation is the discretion of that business and then the consumers who would choose to or not to purchase them. Locally, we have licensing regulations. We can always evaluate licensing regulations based on our code. But I want to reemphasize, by and large, the regulation of fueling stations and the fuel dispensers and the fuel pricing, any sort of discrepancies that may exist with those elements of a fuel station are regulated by the state of Illinois.
Thank you. And I also want to add that residents, we do hear your complaints. I probably speak on behalf of all of us council members. We've heard you loud and clear in regards to this business, and we are looking into it, and we hear those complaints, and we will seek whatever action we can take as a council in regards to that. So please, any other matters pertaining to that, please reach out to Manager Sabo as well, or any other council member.
Thank you. Are there any other matters not on the agenda this evening that the council wishes to discuss? Yes, Alderman Boucher.
Two things really quick. First, I'd like to thank Public Works for their impressive snow removal / salting of the streets over the last snowstorm. My residents were very happy. Someone got plowed in, and you guys came back really quickly and helped unplow them. So thank you very much for keeping us safe and keeping the roads clear when it was gross outside. Also, Manager Sabo and I are sitting in on interviews starting at the end of next month for the new library director. So as that interview process continues, we will fill you in, but the two of us are planning to tag team as we can fit it into our schedules to make sure somebody from the city is present at a majority of those interviews, so we can make sure that the council is included in those activities. So just want to let you all know.
Thank you, Alderman Boucher. Appreciate that. Anything else for matters not on the agenda this evening? Okay. Seeing none, at this time I would like to entertain a motion to go into closed session under Section 2C1 of the Open Meetings Act regarding personnel and under Section 2C11 of the Open Meetings Act regarding pending litigation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Alderman Veneziano, for the first.
Second.
And thank you, Alderman McHale, for the second. Is there any discussion regarding going into closed session this evening? Okay, seeing none, the question is, shall we go into closed session? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reyes.
Yes.
Kohler.
Yes.
McHale.
Yes.
Veneziano.
Yes.
Boucher.
Yes.
With 5 in favor and none opposed, we will now enter into closed session. The audience and press are advised that we do not anticipate taking any action upon returning to open session. Thank you.